"80 years ago, President Gerald Ford defied the norm when he announced he would refuse to play in a University of Michigan football game against Georgia Tech if his teammate, African-American halfback Willis Ward, wasn't allowed to play. This act of defiance set the standard for years to come, proving that the notion of race should not be a factor in a team setting. Today, racial diversity is still a prevalent topic on college campuses, yet racial diversity in team settings isn't an overwhelmingly large issue. In this presentation, we demonstrate the idea that there is no race in team, and examine if this philosophy extends to leadership positions in various athletic departments.
I agree, I guess, because the track team is probably the most racially diverse group I've ever been a part of, and I've never felt any racial tension at practice or in competition or in the locker room or anything like that. I haven't felt that race has almost even existed between us. There are cultural differences, obviously, but nothing specifically racial, I would say. Yeah, I think, it gives us ways to interact, and it, I guess I haven't seen race come up as an issue, and since race is obviously an issue in society, I think by definition that would make it a buffer.
I think that it being predominantly a white sport and along with our team being predominantly the same ethnicity, it hasn't really been a topic of conversation at any point, which looking back is probably a little disappointing that we don't even realize it.
But in a way, I think it's almost a good thing that we don't really need to discuss it, because nobody sees a different race as anything more than what it is. Nobody judges anybody based on where they're from or what color their skin is or what nationality they are or what religion they believe in.
Yeah, with all my teams here in Michigan, I've never felt any divide really depending on race. I mean, my first 2 years, my sophomore year especially, we had 5 players of African descent. And I felt just as close to those guys, honestly. I never felt, there was no divide out here, and I don't know if that's just because in the Midwest, it's definitely like more prevalent. There's hardly any black people in Southern California, but I just felt, I did not feel any sort of divide. And this last year we had just we had only 4 players that weren't Caucasian. We had 2 black players. We had Marcos, who is Peruvian, and I definitely didn't feel any divide. And then James is from England, and I think since he's come here, he's fitting really well. He's adapted to America, even though there are some things that he thinks are different. But yeah, everything's been well with that.
For me personally, playing soccer, it's very important to have a wide array of races on the team, just because people bring different elements to the game. People bring different flavors, different styles of play to the game. For instance, we have me coming from England, but I'm from Jamaican heritage. We have kids from Poland, a couple of kids from around the Arabic countries who bring different things to the team. So I believe it brings definitely a lot of different elements to the team and changes the style of play. So that's very.
I don't see race playing a factor on my team at all. I think we're all just determined off our skill sets. Like, nobody really pays attention to what color you are.
No man is more important than the team. No coach is more important than the team. The team, the team, the team.
Hold you in his armchair, you can feel his disease. As we look at the contributions and the strides the blacks have made at the collegiate level, the big thing that sticks out to me and the glaring thing is there's not a lot of black head coaches. University of Texas hires Charlie Strong recently. Penn State follows suit with James Franklin. Mike London has been at UVA. There's a couple guys that stick out to me. But why do you think overall there's so little black coaches in college sports?
Doug, I think it's simple. I think it starts at the top. It starts with these athletic directors and these university presidents. 89% of the makeup of athletic directors are white. So what does an athletic director do when they're looking for a coach? They look for a guy who's similar in thinking to them, who's apt to make a decision much like they would. Essentially a guy who's like them. Well, if the 89% is white at the AD level, they're most likely going to hire a white coach. And that doesn't have to do with racism. That's human nature. You're going to hire somebody who's an extension of yourself. So it starts at the top in a lack of these athletic directors, which leads towards more white coaches being hired as opposed to minorities.
We need to make sure that we're providing fair opportunities to grow and develop and then to have access to these senior leadership positions. In terms of the performance, just speaking from my own experience, I don't have objective data on it, but I have lots of subjective data, both from the academy and from corporate boards that I work with, and inside the academy and inside athletics. I have always found that when I have a more diverse leadership team, diverse in gender and in race and perspective, I wind up having better decision-making processes, and I have more thoughtful voices at the table. We wind up in stronger positions. There's no doubt about that in my mind. And people with different backgrounds bring different ways of operating and thinking about problems. And if you're going to solve problems in a dynamic environment, you better have lots of good ideas there. So I'm a huge supporter in having that kind of diversity in your leadership team, and I'm working hard on it at the NCAA.